welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at the energy around our health, our well-being, mind, body, soul, via the tarot, astrology, any channeled messages that come through, and I'll incorporate some Ayurvedic wellness protocols that we can implement in order to help strengthen, support our physiology, our mental, emotional as well. So let's get into it. Good morning. I hope you're doing well this morning. Gonna double check audio. Yes, it sounds like we have it. So we're up and running. We're good to go. It's been a really interesting week. You know, we are in Cancer season. Cancer is water energy. Water deals with our emotion and how we intuit things that are happening in our life. Anytime we are in water season, emotions can definitely run high, and that has been a theme this week. I feel Gemini is air energy, so I feel like that air has just kind of fanned the emotional flame, so to speak, and things are popping up that are triggering, right? That are kind of forcing us to look at places where maybe we have to be a little bit more self-reliant is kind of what I'm hearing. I feel like there's this energy of coming back to self, which I personally believe this is just a part of life, part of what life purpose is all about, is being able to come home to self. Not to sound like a cheese ball, but in that value that, like, you know, the one thing we learn how to do in life is disconnect from ourselves, our wants, our needs. We question ourselves, the choices that we make, etc. And the path of life really is about how we can realign, how we can come back. And in Ayurveda, the disconnection from self is looked at as the root cause of disease, whether it's mental, emotional, physical. When we're not honoring self, when we're not listening to self, when we don't know what our wants and needs are, that is where, you know, vitiation ends up happening. That's where the disconnect starts. And so, all that to say, when we're in these seasons, emotions are our guidance system. They're helping us recognize what the situation is, what the relationship is, the person, the dynamic, what emotions are being triggered, how it is making us feel, and then helping us, hopefully, to kind of go back to the drawing board, reevaluate, process what is going on so that we can make changes and adjustments accordingly. And it's interesting in Ayurveda too, and I've just observed this, even in my own struggles and difficulties, how it's so important to be able to process the information, to process what we're experiencing. And we don't always do that for ourselves, right? Especially modern day. Life is so busy, it's so chaotic, there's so much going on, so many responsibilities, to-dos, etc. And that's great, right? I do a lot. I probably do too much. And, you know, I'm all about like doing as much as you can. I'm learning how to do it within reason as I get older. But that value of when we're constantly trying to keep up with the pace, we often don't take time to process. And processing in Ayurveda is connected to our digestive fire, our Agni is what they call it. And it's this value of like our ability to actually understand and take what is good, what is nourishing, what is supportive for our soul, and ingrain that, and then to release the toxins. And when we're not processing through, all of that gets stored in our being, in our physiology, mind, body, soul, right? And that's kind of where that disconnect or vitiation ends up happening. So these readings are designed to, yes, we kind of look at the current energy for sure, but we're also kind of diving a little deeper into like how we can honor ourselves, how we can actually support ourselves, re-enliven those parts of ourselves that might have been disconnected for a long period of time, or, you know, maybe you're trying to work out of a situation that's been really heavy, really toxic. Maybe you're trying to heal from disease, overcome some physical ailments, etc. And that's where these readings will really kind of just help support that energy. Definitely take what resonates. Don't force anything. Leave what does not behind. I'd like to start off my readings with an energy cleansing just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places we might feel blocked or limited. It's a really good opportunity to set your own intention as well, especially if you have come into this reading with something on your mind, something that you would like Spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. It really is a great way to personalize these collective readings. You can also totally skip ahead if this is not your vibe. You'll still receive the good energy, the blessings, the good vibe 100%, always. Always good vibes at this channel. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you're interested in more of that rebalancing of self, your mind, your body, your soul, I do pranic energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. Because when we are strong, grounded, aligned in self, that's really where we're able to overcome some of those challenges. It's where we find our happiness, our fulfillment. It also makes manifesting our abundance that much easier. And I would totally love to help support you in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. I am running behind on my website, like months behind. I should probably use AI. That's what I keep telling myself. But I haven't ventured into the AI world quite yet. So, you know, I don't have my website together is what I'm getting at. But you can definitely email me, hit me up. I would love to help support in whatever way possible. Yeah. All right. With that, let's get into it. This is a little bit of a slow burn today. It's kind of nice. Maybe a good energy to slow down. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so we may see and understand the messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, love. All right, so I am picking up an energy of a little bit of overwhelm. It could probably just be tagging back to like what we were just talking about, being in water season. I am feeling some tiredness, or maybe even just as we were just talking about, that need to kind of decompress, that need to kind of give yourself a little extra time and space. Mars is about to move into Gemini, which is nice for us. I feel like the Mars energy has kind of been put down lately in the astrology and wanting momentum, wanting forward movement, but we've been kind of like told to hold off, right? Or be really mindful about the choices, about the decisions we're making in terms of forward movement. And I think that's, you know, it's kind of hard because like I feel like the overwhelm that I'm picking up is more from the ability to maybe not break free from certain situations, certain people, certain dynamics. But with Mars moving into Gemini, it will definitely shake that energy up a little bit. Gemini brings in new options, new opportunities, it's duality. So whatever you're currently dealing with right now, things are going to start changing. And we are also having a Mercury retrograde end of the month. It's going to be in like Mercury's going to be in retrograde for the majority of July. Retrogrades kind of get a bad rap. I look at them as they help us slow down a little bit in certain areas of our life so we can pay more attention to what is going on. And I think this is really important, especially with Mars entering into Gemini, because I feel like there's this energy of excitement of what's on the horizon. And like I said, some of the burden is coming through of like what continues to remain. The things that maybe you feel like you're over and done with or want to be over and done with, and they're just not going away, right? It's just like, I don't know, the same wheel, the same hamster wheel is what I'm hearing. So overarching energy for us today, I love this, is the roots, healthy patterns, early growth. So this is how you are rooting down into your own life. And I definitely feel like part of the reason Mars has been reined in a little bit more lately is so that we can build better stability, a better foundation for self. And even if not all the bad things or the things that you don't want to deal with anymore, even if they're not completely removed from your life, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not saying that you're doing something wrong. If anything, I feel like the challenges are helping you to stabilize, even if it doesn't come across that way. There's this opportunity to work with what it actually means to be grounded in self, in your own life, through the challenges. And it doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel like the challenges you're coming into that are around you are huge and big, bad, and horrible. Maybe they're not like fun. Maybe it's not, I don't want to shortchange it. I'm not trying to invalidate it. But what I'm trying to get at is there are situations and dynamics that you know how to confidently handle and manage. And even if like you're very clear again on what you think, what you feel, how you want things to progress, it still is that value of creating that stability for self, regardless of what's going on in our outside environment. And that can be really hard to do. That can be really hard to do depending on who and what we're dealing with. I love this, new beginnings. There is a promise of new beginnings. And I already feel like you're tapping into some of this energy with the buds. You're expanding, you're growing. There is natural order to everything. That's something that I feel like we often have to remember. As much as we love the instant gratification or, that things just magically fall away and everything's happy, well, and good. That's a nice idea. It's a nice fantasy, but it's not necessarily the reality. And I'm hearing like maybe even some of the changes, some of the quote unquote grounding that you have to do is, it is kind of hard, right? It does require you to either say no or to kind of put people at a distance or really kind of just have certain boundaries set up for yourself so you're not feeling overwhelmed, so you're not feeling infiltrated in different areas. That the foundation that you have already set to date is wanting to grow. It is wanting to get bigger. It's wanting to become more a part of your life, more integrated into the life that you are living. We have a lot of strengthening cards coming out today too. The pine tree, vitality, longevity, perseverance. And I'm hearing this is more in that perseverance, like you're in more of that perseverance part of the story, where it's this energy of like, I've already dealt with this. I don't have to keep learning this lesson. I don't have to keep dealing with this, but you do on some level. And I'm not saying that's a forever thing. I don't necessarily see that. I'm seeing this more as just like the natural order of life. That certain things, like everything does have divine timing, so to speak. Like, yes, we would love to dictate the time of things, how long something or someone stays in our life, in our environment, what it looks like. At the same time, it's recognizing that like everybody has their own piece to play. And there might be certain things that are happening behind the scenes that you don't really know about, that maybe don't even involve you, right? Like maybe you have to be there as some sort of player, some sort of player, we'll keep it as that, But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to bend and flex to the difficulties. Ooh, 2 came out. Okay. We have sage and walking staff. So sage is wisdom, purification, harmony. Walking staff is support and encouragement. This is a lot about clearing out the old. And I feel like you are preparing to do that. I feel like you've done it to a certain capacity. But this is also about making sure that you have the necessary support in place in order to continue to venture forward. And we've been seeing that pop up a lot, or I guess maybe I have, like, just working with clients, working with the energy of Cancer season is very much highlighting the places where we might not be getting the right kind of support. Again, for that sustenance to sustain whatever you are growing and building at this time. And yes, it's good to be strong in self. I'm a huge proponent of that. But at the same time, you don't want to be so strong that you don't need anything. Because eventually you are going to need something. Eventually, support is going to be required. And it's not like you can't do it by yourself. It's this value of, like, it just makes it a little easier when you have some helping hands, that type of vibe. Okay, but the moth, of course, is in our blocked energy. Mystery, concealment, illusion. Breaking free from some of the illusions. Breaking free from some of the mental games. Like, Ayurveda is a huge proponent of where you put your energy, it's going to enliven that thing. And it's not about turning a blind eye or, you know, whatever, like not paying attention to things. That's not what that means. It's more about, yes, acknowledging where there is difficulty, where there are challenges in front of you, but not letting that become your full focus, not letting that ensue the anxiety, the fear, the what ifs, the unknowns. Because the moth is the shadow representation of the butterfly. So the butterfly is all about transformation. And so is the moth, but the moth does it through shadow work, so to speak. Shadow work is essentially where we have to look at those pieces, those places of our heart that might feel broken, sad, unloved, uncared for, those places that we do get triggered. And it's not, I don't know. I think I'm hearing that a lot of whatever that moth energy is for you, it's about flipping the perspective or seeing it from a different lens. Maybe you've given someone or something too much power, relied too heavily on what they've said, on what they've been telling you, listening too much to an opinion, a perspective of someone else's. And 5 of Pentacles is coming up. So 5 of Pentacles is when someone is feeling left out, when they're feeling rejected, not paid attention to. It's a little bit of a want energy, right? And so that would make sense as to why some of this shadow work is coming up for you. Because, you know, when we're feeling rejected, the way we respond to people and to our environment might not be so nice. And the moral of the story is with the 5 of Pentacles that if you're feeling down and out, go help someone else. It puts problems into perspective. And I'm not saying this to you specifically because this is coming up in the environment around you. It's like someone wants your attention and you're doing your own thing. 6 of Wands. Like you have your own thing in front of you. I feel like this is good for you. I feel like it really represents a lot of what we're seeing in this overarching energy of strength, of endurance. You're building something I feel like it's really big. It's very powerful. It's very beautiful in your life. And it feels like it's more intentional. It's not like you're just allowing life to happen to you. I feel like you're taking inventory of what has happened to you and then saying like, I don't want that. I do want that. And how can I readjust so that I can get more of what I do want and less of this like toxicity, whatever this is, the way that people or situations are retaliating. And again, this is about hurt feelings. This is about something not getting the attention. But it's like you have to put that intention into yourself. And especially when we're talking about health and well-being, right? No one else is going to take care of ourselves aside from, like, no one's going to take care of you aside from you, right? Like you are. And yes, it's nice when we have that mama love, right? Support, nurture, someone makes us a meal or pays for our bill or nurtures us when we're not feeling well. All those things are great, essentially. But at the base of it, like, there is this need for reliance on self. And that's exactly what you are doing. That's exactly what you have been doing. Your work, your hard work is paying off. It does look like that is hard for someone or something to either receive or acknowledge, or maybe the work that you're investing in yourself is taking away from investment into other things, other people who might be taking it personally. But it's not personal. It doesn't look personal. It's personal for you because this is your life, right? And this is what you're doing for yourself. And there's a reason why you've made certain decisions. There's a reason why you're at where you're at present day, why you do need to focus more on this for you. And again, this is also a very, like, here's the thing. I feel like you're breaking away from people who might have had certain expectations around what you do need to do for them in relationships and dynamics. It looks like you've broken away from that and you're actually focusing on self and you're healing self. And there's a lot of good things that are happening as a result of that. But as you've kind of broken away from it, it's also helping you open up the door to other people and situations that are actually life affirming, that are actually helping support and nurture you. So you're not just left hanging or like always have to do everything, because we do have this 10 of Wands in your blocked energy right now. So feeling, again, that goes back to that overwhelm, that stress that I was picking up in the very beginning. You're doing it, but it does. And that's the thing. It does take a lot to invest in something, period. And the way that you're doing it, the way that you're committing to it, it might feel overwhelming. But also remembering this is not a forever space that you're going to be in. If anything, I feel like you're getting more acclimated to a new way of living, a new way of being, right? New beginnings. This is all about when we're making choices to level up and actually like putting in the work, putting in the effort in order to make it happen. And again, there is something in the background that is feeling like, they're not like, they don't like it. It's a change. It's a change in dynamic, or you yourself have changed. And it's a hard pill for someone or something to swallow. And when we're talking about wellness, if this is just something you're kind of dealing with in self, it can be as simple as, certain patterns, habits, behaviors kind of still calling back to you. In Ayurveda, it's looked at as ama, toxins within the being. And anytime we're trying to detox, that toxicity is going to be like, yeah, but I want that cheeseburger, fries, or whatever it may be, right? I love cheeseburger and fries. I don't hate on it. I think that, Ayurveda is all about like the appropriate time to consume those things. And going back to that point of Agni, is our digestive fire strong enough to handle? And that's what you're rebuilding. That's what you're restoring. The ability to handle things that might be heavier, that might be harder. I feel like you've had to do that for yourself in general, just because of what you've been through and what you are overcoming to date. And it's powerful. So it looks like something is removing their energy, but wanting to re-engage. And there might be, I'm hearing like, if this is a person, there feels like there's someone like kind of waiting around, maybe hovering in your energy a little bit, waiting for the right time, the right moment. I don't know that they're specifically like ready to do this. This feels like there's a lot of nervous hesitation, anticipation for what, if they do reach out, if they do connect, what that conversation is actually going to look like. Because you are standing your ground with the Emperor, it feels like if someone is coming towards you, or if you are dealing with a specific person, then when they approach you, it's going to be more of a on a whim, right? They might be wanting to do it, but not really like planning anything. And then they just get the courage, the gumption, and they make it happen. And I feel like there's a lot of reevaluation, I think, that you're going to be brought into. Reevaluation from the stance that you are in now. Like I think, I don't know if this is a done deal, we can clarify, but it feels like a re-entering of someone, or someone who is wanting either to support you or patch up the relationship, the dynamic in a certain way. You might not be very open to it, but I also see that there's other forces at work. Like maybe you're not open to it on this side of things, where it's like, if I were to tell you, hey, so-and-so is going to come back and have a conversation and blah, 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 you might be like, meh, not interested. No, thank you. But this has that value of like, when it actually happens, it might be good to kind of remain open and flexible. Not that you have to do anything you don't want to do. I actually really don't even see you doing that, because you're very quote unquote set in your ways at this point. This is all fire energy. So you are really fueling the amount of energy that you do have into what you are growing and building, what you are passionate about for self. And especially as it relates to your wellness. The Emperor is very much one who is like by the book, he's going to do what he needs to do. And it's really hard to get him to budge, especially if he does feel like he is in the right. I think that that's, again, also why this sage and walking staff came out together, because sage is cleansing of the past. And maybe some type of reconnection is going to help you cleanse a little bit more, cleanse and purify. Meaning that we don't have to carry the old with us into the future. And even if that is a readjustment of a relationship, of a dynamic, or something in your wellness pops up to be like, hey, what about me? Or like whether it's the toxins or it's just something that like our physiology is accustomed to, a little bit of medicine we need to give ourselves that might not be great in large doses, but we can have a little bit of something kind of vibe. It's all going back to this support, right? Because it's not about being a robot. It's not about, yes, it's nice to have everything in order and everything buttoned up and all of that. At the same time, yeah, I just saw the 10 of Cups flip over. It's about your happiness. It's still about living, right? Living this life in a way that makes you feel happy and fulfilled. And that's part of where this rooting down comes into play. So that if you do have something that kind of pushes you one way or another off the balance beam, so to speak, you can easily come back to that center. You can easily come back into what your authentic nature is. And it does look like whatever this is, it is kind of coming to challenge. Maybe challenge is a little bit too of an intense word, but it does feel like it's like, okay, let's see how the work that you're doing pays off. Not like I feel like someone's coming outright to attack you, because if anything, this energy does not want that. If anything, they're struggling to reconnect. They're struggling to kind of come from the heart. Again, there is a little bit of fear around what that would actually look like if something did that. But it doesn't mean they don't want to. It actually is because it's lingering so much for them in their mental, emotional. It's like they get the courage and they're like, I'm just going to do it. And then they do it. And then that kind of helps open up the door. It helps open up the pathway. And that's where you're going to be able to reevaluate. This might even be something that is intertwined with what we were talking about, that shadow part of self. Or it has some... Okay, like I'm hearing if this is kind of triggering some things that feel toxic or uncomfortable, or even maybe that's why if you know someone's toxic, you know someone's toxic. Also, there can be unhealthy situations that we are a part of, and sometimes it can make us afraid that everything else is going to be that way, or if we let something into our life, it's going to just be unhealthy, toxic once again. And maybe, but I'm seeing like this concealment, the illusion. I'm also seeing that there's this value of like recognizing that there might be unhealthy patterns, but if parties are willing, there can be growth and there can be evolution. But that's contingent on everyone doing their part. I'm not saying to go back to unhealthy relationships if it's not right for you. But this has that energy of like, it might have not been great, but it could also be salvaged. Or now that you are stronger in self, now that you are showing up grounded, self-aware, more confident in who you are, it's going to look different. And as the Emperor, you're going to have very specific boundaries that I feel like you're not necessarily going to let people infiltrate, because you've worked really hard to set things up. You've worked really hard to invest in yourself. Maybe someone wants the whole piece, the whole pie, all the pieces of the pie. I think that the reorganization of whatever this dynamic is might be a little challenging for someone with the strength card. Because that's the thing, right? Like this energy is definitely has their cake and eats it too, right? It's very much this thing of like, well, when I'm ready, collective should comply. And especially with this 5 of Pentacles, this is a little bit of a victim mentality. Someone feeling like they were done wrong or they got the short end of the stick. It might not be the reality of it. I also think that's why you're being very strict about how much you let infiltrate. I would say trust yourself. Trust yourself. You have the necessary wisdom that you need in order to navigate this in a healthy way for yourself, especially if it does kind of have some unhealthy or toxic undertones. It might not be the most toxic thing in the world, but it definitely looks like you've separated yourself from something for a reason. And readjusting how it looks or what it looks like present day is what like you actually need, is how this is coming through. And I feel like you're standing strong in that. Someone thinks that I do feel like something has to prove themselves to you. You might be not really engaging too much in this. Yeah, because you've already made the changes. I love this. If anything, I feel like you're a lot further along than what you even maybe understand. And so when whatever this is comes up, it's not going to seem so scary or like you can't trust yourself. If anything, it looks like you can trust yourself. It looks like you've actually like put in the work necessary in order to. And I'm also seeing it in a way that like results are paying off. The way that you're working, the way that you're moving, the way that you're showing up, it's paying off. Ooh. Okay. I'm doing what feels good. I know that exploring my passions will lead me to my purpose. 100%. I am letting go. I know that focusing my attention on things I cannot control distracts me from my journey. I feel like this is such a beautiful embodiment of like what I was talking about earlier. Those places that we are running into some of the emotional triggers, right? Some of the things that like end up becoming distractions. I've seen this hugely like in my own life, specifically coming from this like really great week, being around like-minded individuals, exploring Ayurveda, like everyone kind of being on the same wavelength, on the same vibe, and then coming back into real life. It's wild, right? It ends up being wild, the amount of people, dynamic situations that do try to infiltrate in order to distract. And again, it's up to you how much power you give that. That's not an easy thing, especially when we're used to giving people, situations, dynamics, power. And I feel like, again, that's kind of where that overwhelm is coming through for you, that 10 of Wands. But the opportunity becomes, like we were talking about, recognizing what this shadow is, whether it's ways that you become complacent to the environment around you, subservient, or just trying to overcompensate for other people's stuff, right? Like you don't have to take responsibility for the way other people think and feel. And however this shows up for you in your life, right? This can look different for everybody, right? Some of us might overextend ourselves. Some might, feel like we got to keep a relationship up and running in order for it to like give back to us in a way that we want it to. And a lot of these things with Pluto moving into Aquarius is helping us to release some of those responsibilities we put on ourselves and actually align more with what your path is, what your life needs to look like, and how that is growing and evolving. All right, let's close this out. I love it. It feels hopeful. But we're ending with the Chariot. Sorry, I didn't really talk about this too much. We're ending with the Chariot, and that is the quintessential empowerment card in the deck. And this is all about you being able to see through whatever these distractions are. I think that's also why you're vibing as the Emperor. You're holding strong to what your boundaries are, what you think, what you feel. And that might be hard for someone. It looks like it, right? With that Strength card, wherever that guy went. It looks like it's challenging because it's acclimating to a new normal. But again, that's not your responsibility. That's not your responsibility. And I see there might be temptation to take on those distractions or to do things that you're used to doing for others because you're used to doing it, but also becoming a lot more aware of what that looks like for yourself, for your energy, how much it actually drains or feeds you, whether it is nourishing and supportive or whether it is draining. And I think you need a little more nourishment with this walking staff. I feel like this feels very much like Spirit is leading you in the right direction for the people and the situations and the dynamics that are going to support you. Because it looks like whatever you've been dealing with maybe is not giving as much as like whether they want to or not, who knows, right? I'm happy right now, so just being happy. I know that I do not need to wait for 5 p.m. on Friday to be happy. The weekends are so much fun though, right? But it has this vibe of just like being happy within self as of right now, And that, again, it's an effort. It's an effort. It's an intention. Maybe intention is a better way to say it because efforting implies burden. It implies that just another thing to do, where really I'm hearing this more as a natural evolution, a natural unfoldment, recognizing those places that things are popping up that are kind of calling back to your energy, wanting certain things, whether or not you can invest into that is something you're going to have to weigh against self. And obviously that's coming off of whether people or situations are actually going to communicate with you. It looks like that's eventually happening, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of figure out where you stand present day. Maybe your choices are changing a little bit, or they can change. You can be more open and flexible, especially if there is something in this dynamic that is going to help support you. But at the same time, it's also recognizing that like whomever, whatever this is that you're dealing with has to put up their end of things, meaning they have to contribute. They have to be a part of the teamwork, right? It can't just be all you or nothing, because and maybe that's kind of where you've gotten comfortable in your relationships in the past, and also affected your health and well-being. When we're constantly being pulled from every which way, it's really difficult to just feel balanced in self 100%. And maybe, balance isn't achievable. I don't know. But I think, Ayurveda believes it is. And it's a lot about how we live our day-to-day life, the daily routine, even just our mental, like how much space we let people, situations take up in our mind. And that can be easier said than done. It's way easier to attach onto that MFer, they did this, F them, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. I guess mine is filled with cuss words. But just that value of like, and my son and I, we've been practicing this a lot, especially when we're dealing with heavier dynamics that bring up a lot of pain, a lot of sadness, a lot of difficulty. We've been working on just flipping the perspective in the way that like we can acknowledge, yes, talk about, process through, but then leave it there. You don't have to keep bringing it forward, right? And kind of cultivating your own safe space. Like we're really just, me and myself, we have a different situation, but just kind of making sure that you have that space of safety, of peace, of calm, because that really is what is going to allow your physiology, your mind, your body, your soul to rebalance, to heal, to reacclimate, adjust to like normal, optimal functioning. And that's what this is all about. And I see how you are or have re-regulated. You've gotten the foundation set, and now it's time to like root down, making it a part of your day-to-day living. And I feel like you're doing that, obviously, with the Emperor. You're not really letting anyone or anything infiltrate in a way that doesn't make you feel comfortable, as you should. Also, like I said, just be flexible with how this support comes. It might not be exactly what you're anticipating or expecting, but also like we can find support in things that might not be the end all be all, right? Like we can still take from things that even if we had different expectations of how it was going to look, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing or a wrong thing. And I've been seeing this a lot too, just in the beginning of Cancer season, where it's like, you don't necessarily have to take things personally. Everyone can give what they can give. It might not be what you want them to give. It might not look how you want it to look. But at the same time, it's all okay. Because Spirit gives us that medicine. Medicine can come in any form. Even if it is just a conversation with someone that maybe you want the relationship to develop, and it just is not. It's not a bad thing if it's not. Just take that piece of medicine, really kind of cement it into your heart, into your soul, and keep pushing forward, right? Because I heard it, I loved it. This one tarot reader said the other day, like, you have millions of people who are like ready to love you, thousands. I don't know. Well, no, because we have like 9 billion people on the planet. So millions is not, is feasible is what I want to say. But just, it's that remembering that like, if there is a closed door, if someone doesn't want something, if someone's not communicating, if it's just obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, instead of trying to force that issue, maybe it's about saying like, thank you for whatever this is. I release it with gratitude, and now I'm going to go, and move towards the things that are wanting my time, my energy, my attention. It can be a little bit of a hard shift to make, but it's also a necessary shift, especially when we are talking about opening up to support, especially if you've been in a time where you haven't had a lot of support and you're trying to rebuild what that looks like in your life. Just knowing that, one thing doesn't have to be the thing, that it can be a lot of different things. It can come in a lot of different forms. It can be moment by moment, or it can be something that, we do maintain for longevity. And that's what you're building right now. And those pieces will come, those pieces that feel a little bit more solid and stable if you continue on this path. So thank you so much for your time, energy always. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. It helps, it supports the channel. I also love to connect with you, say, hey, hear how things resonate, or just, sharing a little love, a little TLC. I so appreciate you, especially if you've made it this far in the reading. Again, it really just helps honor, support the channel. No, it blesses my heart. I love doing this, and I hope you love it as well. All right. I will be live tomorrow evening, and then on Monday, I'll start doing videos again, just as a heads up. I've been a little bit out of town. Life has been hectic, so I appreciate your flexibility always, but we should be back up and running now, I promise. All right. Thank you. Have a happy Saturday. All the love, all the blessings your way. Talk to you soon. Talk to you tomorrow.